Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Winds of Winter update video. That's right, folks. George R. R. Martin has given us another update on his NotABlog website. As you all know, George R. R. Martin is currently writing The Winds of Winter, the next book that is slated to be released in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. This is a book that he has been writing for nearly a decade, and since I made a Winds of Winter update video only a week ago, I typically would not make another one so fast, but this time George R. R. Martin did give us some insight into his writing schedule. I thought some of you might find this to be as interesting as I did. It seems as if these updates are happening more frequently, which does make me want to believe he is almost done. However, I have felt this way for many years, so who really knows? You know how it is. Right when we all start thinking they will announce a release date, we end up finding out it has been delayed once again. This is something I discussed in my last update video. George said the book would be done by this summer, but he recently announced it would be delayed until next summer at the very least. Now the good news is, as of right now, he does seem to be moving along nicely. This is one of the main reasons why he has given us several updates this summer. So let's have a look at what he said about the Winds of Winter yesterday. On his NotABlog website, George R. R. Martin said, "I am back in my fortress of solitude again, my isolated mountain cabin. I'd returned to Santa Fe for a short visit to spend some time with Paris, deal with some local business that had piled up during my months away, and of course fulfill my duties to Con Zealand, the virtual Worldcon. But all that's behind me now, and I am back on the mountain again, which means I am back in Westeros again, once more moving ahead with Winds of Winter. It is curious how my life has evolved. I mean, once upon a time, I actually wrote my books and stories in the house where I lived, in a home office. But some decades ago, wanting more solitude, I bought the house across the street and made that my writer's retreat. No longer would I write all day in my red flannel bathrobe. Now I would have to dress and put on shoes and walk all the way across the street to write. But that worked for a while. Things started getting busier though. So busy that I needed a full-time assistant. Then the office house had someone else in it, not just me and my characters. And then I hired a second assistant and a third, and there was more mail, more email, more phone calls, and more people coming by. By now, I'm up to 5 assistants. And somewhere in there, I also acquired a movie theater, a bookstore, a charitable foundation, investments, a business manager, and, despite all that help, I was drowning till I found the mountain cabin. My life up here is very boring, it must be said. Truth be told, I hardly can be said to have a life. I have one assistant with me at all times, minions I call them. The assistants do 2-week shifts and have to stay in quarantine at home before starting a shift. Every morning I wake up and go straight to the computer, where my minions bring me coffee. I am utterly useless and incoherent without my morning coffee, and juice, and sometimes a light breakfast. Then I start to write. Sometimes I stay at it until dark. Other days I break off in the late afternoon to answer emails or return urgent phone calls. My assistant brings me food and drink from time to time. When I finally break off for the day, usually around sunset, there's dinner. Then we watch television or screen a movie. The Wi-Fi sucks up on the mountain though, so the choices are limited. Some nights I read instead. I always read a bit before going to sleep. When a book really grabs hold of me, I may read half the night, but that's rare. I sleep. The next day, I wake up and do the same. The next day, the next day, the next day. Before COVID, I would usually get out once a week or so to eat at a restaurant or go to the movies. That all ended in March. Since then, weeks and months go by when I never leave the cabin or see another human being except whoever is on duty that week. I lose track of what day it is, what week it is, what month it is. The time seems to go by very fast. It is now August and I don't know what happened to July, but it is good for the writing. I wonder if it is the same for other writers, or is it just me? I wonder if I'll ever figure out the secret of having a life and writing a book at the very same time. I certainly have not figured it out to date. For the nonce, it is what it is. My life is at home, on hold, and I am spending the days in Westeros with my pals Mel and Sam and Vic and Ty, and that girl with no name, over there in Bravos. Well, as you can see, it does sound like he is focused on finishing this next book. It's a shame he has to isolate himself in a cabin in the woods just to do so. I think that if he would have focused on the Winds of Winter from day one, I'm sure he would have had it done many years ago. But you also have to think, if he did that, then he would not be able to help with any new shows or write any other books like Fire and Blood. I think most fans would rather have the Winds of Winter before anything else, but I do understand where George is coming from. Sometimes you do actually get cabin fever, and sometimes you get tired of working on the same thing over and over again. It can be nice to take a break and focus on something else, especially if you find yourself having writer's block. You might have to take a step back, re-energize, then come back at it feeling motivated again. Hopefully George is able to take advantage of all this momentum by actually getting the book done within the next year. It would be amazing if The Winds of Winter came out, then was followed up by House of the Dragon. That would certainly give us enough material to discuss for the next decade while waiting for A Dream of Spring. Now this is all wishful thinking, of course. Since George R. R. Martin is isolating himself in a cabin in the woods, there is really no excuse for him not finishing this book sometime soon. Now if I were him, I would not even think about writing one word for the second volume of Fire and Blood until I got The Winds of Winter done. I think everyone else who is in business with him would understand. A Game of Thrones, and more specifically, A Song of Ice and Fire, is what led to all these other opportunities. As of right now, The Winds of Winter is holding him back from finishing his A Song of Ice and Fire book series. If he can get through that obstacle, I really think it would enhance all of his other works, simply because of the amount of stress he is under while trying to finish it. But, then again, I know nothing. All I really want to say is I am very excited for the future of this fandom. I mean, yeah, Game of Thrones might not have ended the way we all wanted, but we have yet to see how the creator of this amazing story wants it to end. Based on how incredible his books have been so far, I can only assume The Winds of Winter will take things to the next level as we reach the climax of the story. House of the Dragon is on its way, and The Winds of Winter will get released eventually, which will bring us one step closer to A Dream of Spring. Anyways, I hope you all found this update video to be as interesting as I did. Let me know what you think down below. As always, I want to thank everyone for watching the video, and I also want to thank those of you who support my channel on Patreon. I could not do this without you. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you again very soon. Bye.